one of the latest news that happened last night, which is the WWDC, Worldwide Developer Conference, for Apple, which happens annually, and they release so many products. And this year, a product that they released or a product that they announced is something great. It's called the Apple Vision Pro, which is an mixture of hybrid of augmented reality and virtual reality glasses. Have you seen about it?
Yeah, I've seen the glass. I've looked at some of the pictures and the promo video of how they're trying to launch and all of that. You see, always when bigger companies like the giants, when we talk about the big technology lines, the oil giants, when they try to innovate something, they're not fools when they do something, because they work hand in hand with the government. They know, and they have the data of the billions and billions of users around the world. So they know when the wind blows which side and what they need to innovate. So that's why when innovation dominates the whole thing. But again, you see a company like Apple, we were worried about, okay, after the phones, what they're going to really come up with. So they come up with something. I think the CEO, Tim Cook, after taking over the position from Steve Jobs, I think one of the innovative things, because if you see today's world, if you don't innovate, you die. Yeah. That's why you keep innovation. And at the same time, if you don't construct, an economy dies.
I mean, the thing about Apple is that Apple is never the one to create a trend, but they are the one to perfect a trend. Like, for example, any product that came out, they will wait and perfect the product and comes up with the
even
best.
Even if it take time.
Yeah, best out of the bunch. Let's say there has been headsets and there has been headphones for a long time. When Apple came out, they were the best in the business to be used on alongside a smartphone. And when they came out with a silicon chip, it is the best in the business, which can be used in the Mac OS. When they came out with displays at the time of LCDs, Retina displays was the display to be used. And even with the augmented glasses on the glasses, Meta has done it, Google has done it. Google done it so long back, it was too early for the times and it failed. But yeah, Meta is doing it. But what Apple is doing is designed it so perfectly and so user-friendly, and it supports with all the ecosystem that is already in place. And they have done it in such a good way that now the companies that have spent all this time for, like Meta, has to follow their lead.
If you look at it, R&D for any company in the world is huge. But you see, when you look at Apple, they're the only technology that stands with what the branding stands with. Because you see, the branding, if you look at Apple, one of the most famous brand in the world, a highly rated brand, a highly verified brand and all that, in terms of branding, they're number one. Yeah. But how they position themselves, okay, if they don't give a quality and how they position themselves, it would not go aligned. That's why they take a lot of time even for a product to be launched. But like you said, perfectioning. So excellence is what again dominates again. So it's Apple releasing these kind of, augmented reality glasses at this stage is what defines them to be Apple tomorrow. So they know it very well. And again, the kind of people who uses Apple around the world. So that's why they're successful in what they do, because they are more into excellence and client success more than the brand success.
Yeah, like in the tech world, people say a product made the Apple way. When they say the product made the Apple way, which means it is made the best possible way. And where all the functionalities that the headset has to offer, it is all integrated with their existing ecosystem. Like, for example, they have a MacBook. When you wear the glasses, you can look at the MacBook and a screen pops up of the display of the MacBook. Now you can work on a bigger display, and you don't have to you can use a mouse and keyboard to use it. And Meta, for instance, they use a remote to control their virtual reality settings, or choose or hover over things or click on it. But what Apple did, Apple kept sensors around the eyes to see where your eye looks, and use your and cameras below to use your fingertips to select. So you can look at something and click on it to select it. Apple did it in an Apple way, and everything about that headset, now the rest of the companies has to follow that lead. Even the way they kept, the way, have you seen the pictures of it where people's eyes are being seen? That are not actually their eyes. It's a display, LED display showing their eyes. And when you buy the glasses, you need to buy it from Apple Store because you can go and get a 3D scan of your face. So you can talk to people wearing the headphones in a 3D face.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that Apple have already standard out for many, many years ago.
And they came
They
up
stood
with
out,
the
yeah.
and they came up with the optic ID, which I think they should probably name it Iris ID. Sounds good. iPad Iris. Their optic ID, which is better than their face ID, which has their eyes go through their pupils and using that to security. And they are bringing it to every ecosystem. None of the devices are being left out. Apple Watch has been integrated with the headphones, which has been integrated with the MacBook and iPad and so on. And that kind of ecosystem is hard to build for companies like Samsung or Google.
No.
Google is trying to do it now.
No, they would have had all thoughts, but again, you see, they would have had all thoughts to fix and do things like that. But there is a certain way Apple does it, and that's why it's not as things done Apple way. It's not that Samsung is not aware about this, not that Google is not aware. They exactly know, but at the same time, you see, in when you become a giant, you need to allow something to get to the market so that you could do something else. So they allowed this thing to happen because you see, Apple is more of an hardware in its own iOS, and they specifically work on certain excellence on that. But if you see, still Google, it controls the search and the research factor of the whole world. So I think at some point they need to work together, and they're still working together.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
even let's say competitors like Samsung
They all
and
need to
Apple
work
are
together.
working together.
Yes.
Behind the scenes, Samsung provides the displays for Apple's mobiles, and so they are working together. They are working together in a format that everyone can access.
Yeah, so I think that's something that
Did you see the pricing? Sorry to cut you off. Did you see the pricing of the headphones though?
No, I have not seen that one.
It is $3,500.
Wow, it's gonna be more than 14,000 dirhams. Something like
Do you think people will purchase it? Since it is Apple, do you think people will purchase those? A normal user will purchase those?
Yeah, you see, if you're Apple freaky, why not? People are buying gadgets to play PlayStations for 10,000, 20,000. So there's people who have money. I see, Apple really don't target somebody who do not like Apple. They only target for people who know what they can do with it. The system.
Apple is kind of a brand where you purchase even though you can't afford it.
Yeah, so that's how they position themselves. There's no doubt that would be a failure of that. But again, you see, for me, I'm not an Apple fan. Not because that I'm not an Apple. I do have Apple things but I understood over time that I really fancy their branding and excellence and structuring and all of that. But when it comes to work and quick works and all of that to get it done, I stick to my own things too.
Yeah, even when you talk about the pricing of it, when people can buy a 45-inch or a 50-inch display TV for, let's say, 15,000 dirhams, they can afford to buy one headphones that can give you a 60-inch theater or theater display to watch movies. So in that terms, yeah, this is useful in a way that it can do a lot of things for the money you are spending.
If you look at it, every technology is constantly capturing your time. Have you noticed it?
Yes.
Because you talk about any application that takes your time. You talk about anything. You talk about YouTube. You talk about TikTok. You talk about any application today. It takes time, and it's free of cost, by the way. And guess who's the customer for them? And how would they make money if everything is free?
It's advertisement.
Not advertisement. I mean, now, if we talk about millions of people are users, and they don't charge nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're the customers, and you're the one who gets the money also. Because you're the one who's discussing what you really want. And they exactly give it to you in a platter, what you want. So you are the end user, and you're also the buyer for it. That's how they produce things in a platter. So that's the whole intention of the whole technology world, to capture the whole human being. If you see, people are married to the phones today.
Yes.
I think the whole world is, again, going towards, because one thing that I'm not liking it, in my personal opinion, that I would say to anybody is, why do you think men's testosterone are too low today? Because one of the research says that your screen time has become too more. That's why men don't intend to get married these days, because you don't feel the need to. Yeah, because he tries to adapt himself to live in a certain lifestyle, which feels that he's more compelled to live and live happily with it, because he enjoys his prime time, he enjoys his Netflix, he enjoys his crisps, he enjoys his sleep, he enjoys his movies, and he lives with it. But what happens over time? Because you've been a good breed of a woman, but you're just in a man's body. That's what the world is also trying. Every technology has made it a certain way. That's why off lately I'm hating tech. Not that I'm hating. Nobody can live without a technology today. We all live and breathe with it. We need in order for us for our own sustaining. But if you look at it, when I look at the generation that we used to live, when we look at the generation where 80s and 90s, and when we look at probably the phones that you used of a whole Nokia of 3310 and 1100 and 6600, it was not user friendly.
Sony Ericsson,
and it also has a music feature Walkman series and all that. So that's the generation that we all come from. But what was the too funky thing about it? We would only have 100 messages a day, and you would be so excited about the red receipts that you used to have.
Yes.
And everything that you're going to share to your girlfriend is hearts and and roses with it, and you play the snake games with it. And today we talk about a technology. It is too fantasizing and too exciting to talk about it. But have you thought about how much it swallowed the generation today? Internet have taken over.
Yeah, even if you look at I got my screen timing on my desktop, on my home screen, to see how much hours I use my display. Today I have used my phone for 6 hours. 6 hours out of the 12 hours I've been awake. I've used my phone for 6 hours.
Now you see the intensity of the world. Now you talk about the screen time. The thing that you have researched, the data is already captured and given to the government and given to the people to say that this particular area is actively looking for property. So don't be surprised if there are thousands of people researching the same thing they're researching from your area. The government plans their investment there.
Yeah, based on it.
So the data collection is more integral based on your research, which technologies work hand in gloves with the government in order to ensure these things are done right.